Yoga for Fibromyalgia. I'm so excited that you're here and joining us for this workshop. I'm Melissa from melissaversusfibromyalgia.com. Let's dive in. Welcome. So what are we doing here? We're looking at the research and benefits of yoga for fibromyalgia, yoga as tools, bust some of those myths, answer some of your burning questions, look at my favorite yoga tools, and how you can get into yoga specifically for fibromyalgia thrivers. There's a question I ask everybody in the beginning of most of my trainings. Who has the most power to impact our quality of life? The answer is us. Every day we get to make many decisions, small and large, that add up to our life. This is why I do what I do and why I'm so into yoga. So here's a couple of pieces of research that just highlight this. They're showing that higher self-efficacy is associated with better outcomes like less pain, less impairment on the physical activities measure, all of that sort of thing. So they're saying pre-treatment self-efficacy significantly predicted post-treatment physical activity with higher self-efficacy associated with better physical activity outcome. Changes in self-efficacy significantly predicted post-treatment tender point index, disease severity and pain. Improvements in self-efficacy were associated with better outcomes on each measure. Higher levels of self-efficacy are associated with better outcomes. Self-efficacy is vital. So you are here. I'm assuming you're a fibromyalgia thriver, however you prefer to term that. You might have been struggling with symptoms for some time. Perhaps you're feeling overwhelmed with trying to manage your symptoms and all the things, parenting, work, caregiving, all of it. Wondering how the heck you can find people who get it. Why is it so hard to find good support? And hopefully you're curious about yoga and if it can help you. You're in the right place. If you've ever tried a yoga class and had a horrible experience, or even just a mediocre one, if you've been too afraid to try yoga because you think that it means 90-minute classes and standing on your head, are you tired of hearing other people tell you you should exercise and how much you should do to the detriment of your quality of life? If you want to hang out with some people who get it, join me in the Melissa U versus Fibromyalgia movement. We are reclaiming self-care, movement, and our lives. Our quality of life matters. So that's me. I am Melissa. I am the founder of Melissa versus Fibromyalgia. I have been sharing my journey as a chronic challenge fighter, a mama, and a busy woman for several years now. I've been practicing and reaping the benefits of yoga and meditation for years. This is my dream to share this with you. I lost a lot of my life waiting for a diagnosis, then waiting for a doctor to help, then waiting for research to show me what to do, and then trying all the things. But now I've reduced my pain levels by half. I've dramatically reduced my fatigue levels. I sleep way better. I have 3 healthy children, all 6 years old and under right now. I experience less brain fog, anxiety, and digestive symptoms. I have a small business, and I'm thankful every single day. My blog, Melissa versus Fibromyalgia, is featured as one of Healthline's top 19 fibromyalgia blogs of 2019. My YouTube channel was also included in FeedSpot's top 15 fibromyalgia YouTube channels list. I've written 2 books, Melissa versus Fibromyalgia, My Journey Fighting Chronic Pain, Fatigue, Insomnia, and Pregnancy and Fibromyalgia. I facilitate 2 Facebook groups, so you may have heard about me from these, Yoga for Fibromyalgia and the Pregnancy and Parenting with Chronic Pain, Fatigue, and Fibromyalgia group. I've been around for a while, but if you are new here, I'm so happy that you have joined us and I can't wait to connect with you. So let's dig into it. What can yoga offer us? Why am I super excited about it? It offers us the ability to move mindfully, relax, stretch, and strengthen your body in an accessible manner. This is something that's really important to me. It's in an accessible manner. Research is showing us that yoga can help us to reduce pain, increase energy, improve sleep, decrease anxiety, help us to breathe better, and calm the central nervous system. Let me teach you these tools so that you can utilize them wherever and whenever you need. So let's look at some research briefly, but without putting you to sleep. There's definitely a lot more research on my website, so if you are that way inclined, there is heaps for you to go through there. But in a 2010 study, they found that the yoga groups were able to reduce, by an average, pain of 24%, fatigue 30%, and depression by 42%. Pretty impressive findings. So what are some of the benefits made from a compilation of research that I've looked up that we can attribute to yoga? It helps calm the autonomic nervous system. It helps with sleep, reduces fatigue, reduces pain, increases physical capacity, decreases myofascial pain, decreases anxiety and depression, helps you to relax, gives you mindfulness of movement and awareness of proper alignment. Now this is shown in the research, and I've got a handout for you with these research links in case you want to look them up. But I have personally found all of these benefits from my yoga practice, in addition to my whole of life practices. So I like to think of fibromyalgia as a giant game of whack-a-mole. So in my blog, and my trainings for you, I've been wanting to say, just do this for sleep and just do this for pain. I want to make it easy, and I want to be able to give you a few things to do, but it's kind of like slapping band-aids on a boat with massive holes, right? The boat's still going down and you can't do that much about it with those teeny tiny little things. The more I've recovered, the more I've realized that it was not efficient to work on all those little things, especially alone. We end up hitting at all of the fibro moles, like pain, and pain could be multiple moles. Fatigue, sleep, digestive issues, other illnesses, and all of those other things that come with this complex syndrome. So by the time we have taken our hand off one that we may have hit down to work on another, the first has popped up again, if we even got it down at all. It's just like a constant whack the mole all the time of all the different bits. And I knew for myself that there were efficiencies, and I was working on things that were hitting multiple areas. For example, working on sleep helped me with everything. In the past year, I've become more and more interested in the central nervous system. Working on that helps with sleep, pain, fatigue, digestive issues, and more. And the fastest way for us to manage our central nervous system ourselves is through yoga. So my big things to focus on are sleep, pain management, pacing, yoga, and perpetuating factors, and yoga helps with all of that. So really I came about this because I'm just so tired of trying to hit all of the moles, and I just wanted to get more efficient, and I wanted to help you do that too. So let's bust some of those myths and answer these questions that people have been asking. So there's a bit of a fiction here. I can't do yoga. And the myth is kind of that yoga is 90-minute classes, or who is the most bendy, turning into a pretzel, standing on your head. It's none of those things. Yoga is not those things. The term yoga actually incorporates a range of tools such as meditation, breathing, and the physical practice you likely think of. But within the physical practice, there is a lot of range. There's restorative yoga, which is designed for those who are unwell or injured. There is slow flow, yin, which is holding poses for up to 5 minutes. There's faster flows, hot yoga, those subgroups like goat yoga. You can do yoga on your bed, on the floor, in a chair, standing at a wall, at your desk, and technically you can do it lying down with your eyes closed and your heat pack on. I have practiced for around 10 years and I still do a maximum of 30 minutes at a time, and I'm not super bendy. I've designed all of my classes knowing this. One of my first students, Meisha, was so happy when she realized she could now do yoga. Too many people have been put off by their first experience, and I'm really sorry for that because it means they are missing out on the benefits. So second fiction, yoga is a religion. It is not. Some branches of yoga are more spiritual, but they don't designate a religion. The way I practice and present it is completely secular. I take the research, my experience, and the tools I need. And let's be clear, I will pilfer any tool necessary to help me with my symptoms. In terms of the philosophy, it is just guidelines for good living. So have you ever read a self-help book? It's kind of like that. The yamas and niyamas are a framework for treating ourselves and others. So with values like truthfulness, both to ourselves and others, compassion, contentment, etc. But you don't need to explore these to utilize the tools that yoga offers. Fiction, yoga will cure illnesses. So many times, there's those memes going around, oh, you have chronic pain, just try yoga. I don't like the dismissive nature of those because yoga is really helpful, but yoga is only one part of it and it ain't curing it. Yoga is not a cure-all or a panacea. It is a useful set of tools, but we are looking for practical ways to manage our symptoms ourselves. I have personally found a lot of benefit, but this is only alongside a whole of life plan, including low-dose naltrexone, sleep, pacing, and more. So what about yoga in pregnancy? Can you do yoga when you are pregnant, especially if you have fibromyalgia? Yoga can be a helpful tool for pregnant women with fibromyalgia. The specific tools or parts of yoga we use will vary from woman to woman. But if a pregnant yogi with fibromyalgia wanted to take a class of mine, they are welcome and I can help them to find a practice that suits them. I give general guidelines for accessibility in pregnancy. There are some general guidelines for yoga in pregnancy. So if you have practiced prior to pregnancy, then you can generally continue. If you haven't practiced before, it is recommended you check in with a prenatal specific yoga teacher who is specifically trained, and it's also good to ask your medical team. And you want to keep the breathing even. We don't want to hold the breath. We want to avoid deep twists and deep forward folds without creating space for our belly. Obviously, we don't want to compact our baba. And we want to avoid lying flat on our back after 18 weeks or whenever it begins to feel uncomfortable. But you can use props to keep your head and your heart up. So adding some guidelines in for pregnancy and fibromyalgia, I would say mind your energy levels. If you feel too fatigued, don't push it. A lot of pregnancy-related yoga focuses on hip openers, and for a lot of us, this is unwise as we seem to experience a higher incidence of pregnancy-related pelvis issues. So particularly symphysis pubis disorder and general over-loosening of the hip bones. And pull back on your practice. In fibromyalgia, we can tend to feel the pain and fatigue afterwards as opposed to in the moment when we overdo it. And in pregnancy, we have hormones making us a bit more flexible. So again, we're more prone to injury. So it's always better to pull back. So what do I recommend during pregnancy? Take up meditation if you haven't already. It's so necessary to rest well, especially as pregnancy progresses and fatigue increases and sleep gets harder to come by. Meditation saved me during my pregnancies and first years when the babies didn't sleep at night. It actually is what made the biggest difference for me between my first and my second. So with my first, I didn't find meditation until he was over a year old, whereas with my second, I had it from the beginning and it made such a difference to me. I'd also suggest taking up gentle breathing practices such as alternate nostril breathing and diaphragmatic breathing, because good breathing is restful, calming, helps with pain, and it can help with delivery. Simple poses like cat and cow pose can be really great for gently mobilizing the back. Some hip openers can be helpful in preparing for birth as long as your pelvis issues do not preclude this. And if you have the energy, then gentle classes may be really useful for you. Restorative yoga is a brilliant, restful, gently stretching practice. Now, I practiced yoga during pregnancy and I had to basically do it alone and make it up as I went, knowing what I knew, because there isn't actually a thing where there's a specialization of fibromyalgia during pregnancy. So it's a tricky area. I do have a dream of doing some extra study in the area of prenatal yoga, but of course it'll be just like my teacher training where I'll have to do a heap of extra supplementary research and information gathering just to make sure that we cover it properly, because it is a bit more complex, isn't it, as we know all the time. But this is my recommendation and some information, so I hope that that helps you. So, do I have time for yoga? There's a bit of a fiction that yoga means 90-minute classes. Yoga means whatever you want or need it to mean time-wise. If you could commit to yourself just 15 minutes a day, you could see such a difference that you'll likely want to double it. You could practice one pose at your desk for 2 minutes. You could practice a body scan meditation before going to sleep for 10 minutes. It's also useful when you're stuck awake in the night. You could do a 5-minute breathing practice in the car after work before picking up the kids. You could do a 10-minute gentle beginner's routine at any time of the day with the kids colouring next to you. You could do a 20-minute gentle restorative yoga class on your bed in the evening. Do you see the pattern here? 5 to 20 minutes most days is better than an hour once a week, and you can fit it in. The real question is not do you have time, but what could happen if you made time? So I've talked a lot and kind of used the word tools a lot. So what does it mean when I say yoga as tools? Before I knew what I was doing, I realized that certain yoga poses were really helping me. I did cat and cow pose multiple times a day during pregnancy, and I found forward bend really helpful for my back and my neck. Yoga Nidra guided meditation saved me when my babies were small and I couldn't nap at all, no matter how miserable I was, so I did it literally just to rest. After a few years, I realized the other benefits, such as a reduction in my fight or flight responses. But these tools belong on our list, on our self-care list, with things like our heat pack, gentle walks, supplements, medications, sleep hygiene, and all the rest. Breathing, meditation, and asana, poses and classes can help us, and they should be on our list. Because we can do these anywhere, anytime, without waiting for help from someone else. Once I have taught you these are your tools forever. So I thought I'd share a little bit about my yoga story because you might find some parallels to yours. I remember trying so hard to do classes in studios and at the gym, and I remember wondering why it was so hard and how I just couldn't do it the way others did. This is back before I had a diagnosis or even really understood what it was, and I just remember feeling out of place and wrong, and like something was really wrong with me. I remember so many classes wondering how all the other students were able to just serenely lie on their back and do the final relaxation. I'd try it on my back, then I'd try it with my knees bent, then I'd do it on my side. I could not get comfortable. I was in so much pain. But now Savasana is one of my favorite poses, and I know exactly how to make it work. So after that, later on, I would do, I found this 15-minute DVD workout. It was a yoga workout, and I did that for a few years on and off, alternating with my Pilates. But ultimately, I got a bit frustrated because I was pregnant 3 times in 4.5 years, and of course, Pilates often relies on you lying flat on your back, so I'd have to keep stopping. And I didn't really have enough yoga experience to figure out what to do in the very early times. So I ended up trying YouTube. And I'd type in for beginners, and I'd try for when you're in pain or when you're tired, and they just were not for me. I just remember being so frustrated. I'd be like, how is this for when you're fatigued and it's like 45 minutes long? Or if this is for when you're in pain, how on earth am I supposed to put my leg over there? It was crazy. It did not help me at all. But I started to use cat and cow and forward fold as tools. And I just was kind of working on it myself and playing with things myself and adapting everything myself. But I was really limited because all I really had was sun salutations. And sun salutations are a great sequence, but they're not the most accessible sequence. I literally thought there was no way that I could train to be a teacher because I thought the only way was those in-studio versions where you spend long days cramming knowledge into your head, and that you'd have to be able to stand on your head to be able to do it, and you'd have to be able to do all the moves, and they are also thousands and thousands of dollars. But last year I was listening to the YouTube channel of a fellow yogi spoonie teacher, and she was saying how you can train online. And it was like a light bulb going off in my head. I was like, holy guacamole, wouldn't this be amazing? And the idea would not let go. And so I made a bit of a business plan and presented it to my husband and said, this is it. This is what I'm meant to be doing. So I found, I looked at all of the offerings online, and I found a teacher who had been doing in-person teacher trainings for like 10, 15, 20 years, and she had turned that into an online option. And she had hundreds of teachers who have been through and were going through her online classes. So I had a chat with her and told her, look, I can't do all of the poses, and the people who I would want to teach can't do all the poses. And she got it. She got my vision. She said, you don't need to be able to do them all, and yoga should be accessible. And yeah, I was just in love and so excited. And so I started training. I had a not quite 1-year-old, not quite 3-year-old, and not quite 6-year-old, but I did it. I did my 200-hour yoga teacher training. At the same time as doing my teacher training, I had to do a lot of supplementary work, working with my own body and looking at research and figuring out how to make it friendly for fibromyalgia. So basically I did all the work during my training so that the second I came out of training, I was ready and I was so excited, and I created my first program and I had a blast, and I just loved sharing those tools with my students, and their feedback just blew me away. And so that's how we are where we are now. We are talking about yoga for fibromyalgia here, and I get to share this with you, and it is literally a dream come true. So let's move on to a bit of a different tact. So what are my favorite poses for fibromyalgia? So I have some particular favorites that I'd like to share with you. And I have a bonus actually for you. I've compiled a free resource list so you can download it after the workshop. So it has links so that you can try several of these poses we're about to talk about. You can try a couple of my classes for free, and I've also got those research links for you in case you are curious about more research. So let's dig into these poses. Cat and cow. So I've talked about this a bit already, so I won't spend too long on it, but this is one of my earliest tools, and one I still use regularly. It is the best, and I highly recommend it for many people. It's good for back mobility, linking the breath with movement, helping to relieve menstrual cramps, gently stretching, and like I said, it really helped me during pregnancy. And here's just a little video so you can have a sneak peek at what it looks like to actually do this pose. So you're moving with the breath, and you're moving with the range of movement that is available to you. Forward bend. So it's another one I've been talking about. It's one of those first ones I used as a tool. So my neck is a big area that I'm managing all the time, and I just happened to notice that it really helped me stretch my neck out between physio appointments. So I was just doing it for that purpose. Now you'll notice here that I've got a block there. I have been practicing for many years. I have done my teacher training. I do not touch the floor in forward bend. So this one calms the brain, stretches your calves and your hamstrings, your hips and your back. It is said to reduce fatigue, anxiety, insomnia, and headaches. So this is seated mountain going into seated forward bend, so you can have a look at what that looks like. Yep, you can literally do this pose on your couch or in your favorite chair to get your back going. Supported child's pose. If you follow me on social media, you'll likely have heard of this before and seen this before. I'm a little bit evangelical about this one. So this is the pose that made me fall in love with restorative yoga. So one evening when I was in the middle of my restorative yoga training, I was practicing a couple of the poses that I'd learned in the training that day, and this is the first one I did, the first one I ever tried, and I was like, holy moly, this is the best ever. It took like 2 minutes and my parasympathetic nervous system had clicked into place, and I was so relaxed. It was delicious. And it can be done on your bed or on your mat. It can be done as a standalone pose for rest or as part of a restorative class. And you really focus on your breath and you really let your body relax. Legs on a chair is another really great restful one, and I have a version that I love and I teach in my course, legs on a cushion, so that's just a little bit more accessible if you're practicing on your bed. And this again is an even more accessible version of legs on a wall, where you do it next to a wall with your legs flat. Some people shouldn't do inversions, so let's talk about this for a second. Those with eye conditions such as glaucoma, detached retina, hiatal hernias, or heart conditions shouldn't be doing inversions. But your physical therapist or your medical team should be telling you what you shouldn't do. And this is another reason why you should always check in when you're talking about doing yoga. But also the great thing about yoga is that your body will tell you if you're doing something and it's not resonating with you, back off it. So the great thing about legs on a chair, or however you do it, which variation you choose, it relieves stress and tension, helps with insomnia, soothes swollen and sore legs and feet, and reduces lower back tension, which is very helpful. Body scan meditation. This is another one I've been using for a long time, long before I was training, and it's one of those things I kept telling people to do but wished I could just help them do it. Now I can, which is awesome. I love that. I use this every single day. It is part of my mindful bedtime routine. I use it when I wake up in the night. Some of my students have told me this is their favorite part of my program. It helps us to relax the body and calm down. It can be practiced during your final relaxation in a class, before a rest, in the car between leaving work and getting the kids. You can do it in bed, on a chair, on the floor. It's pretty versatile. It relieves stress and tension and helps with insomnia. Neck stretches. So anybody who's followed me for any amount of time will notice that I said before, my neck has been a very important area to manage. I've been managing this since I first started work in my 20s, in my very early 20s. And this is the thing that kind of let me down, because if doctors and chiropractors and anyone I had seen in my early 20s had realized that it was trigger points, we could have got onto it sooner and made such a difference. But here we are, and dynamic neck stretching has made a big difference for my neck and shoulders. So I spent years, like everybody else, doing this, that, and the other thing, trying to cope, and I did all of the static stretching, and it never really helped. This helps. So we're always moving with the breath, and we're never rolling our neck. Hear me here, if you have neck problems, please do not roll your neck. And this is just one of many ways that we incorporate neck stretches into my classes. So again, it's moving with the breath, so you're exhaling down to stretch, and you can move in different ways. You can really, once you've started to learn this, you can start to just do it wherever and whenever you need. When you're sitting there watching TV, when you're in the car, you're at the desk, just do it. I literally do neck stretches all the day. Alternate nostril breathing. So this is a new favorite for me. I began doing it more regularly because I read that it balances the central nervous system. And as I noticed the effects, I fell in love. It's a lovely, simple, calming practice that's not as tricky as it looks. So it can help us to relax, reduce headaches, stress, insomnia, and anxiety, and it helps support the lungs and respiratory function, and it can help us to focus. So can you see how these tools might help you? Have you started to see how you might actually be able to do yoga? Can you imagine feeling pain in a certain area and knowing a pose that can help you manage it? Feeling overwhelming fatigue and being able to use a guided meditation to help you achieve some deep rest? Creating a mindful sleep routine that helps you get to sleep faster? Have tools in your metaphorical back pocket to help you as and when you need? Hope plus self-efficacy, remember that means knowing you can help yourself and not wait for someone else, equals better outcomes for us. It's research proven, and I can tell you that for sure myself. This is what yoga offers. Call it what you like, stretching, breathing, meditation if you prefer, but I do it with no spiritual woo-woo, although I'm happy to share the philosophy behind the 8 parts of yoga. There's no pretzeling, no shoulder stands, no 90-minute classes, and no use of the C word. So the C word is cure. We don't use that word around here. We are looking for tools to help us manage our well-being, and yoga offers these. So I'd love to tell you about our team just for a bit. Yoga for the Chronic Life virtual yoga studio is mindful movement, breathing, and meditation. We learn practical tools and techniques to reduce and relieve fibromyalgia symptoms. So we move mindfully, we use practical tools. So we look at poses as tools, yoga for sleep, yoga to relax, breathing, all that good stuff. And we wrap it all up with support, okay? Your support team gets it. I get it, friend. You will not be alone. Why are you offering this? You deserve to make your vision of thriving with everything you have going on, and you deserve to achieve it. You told me that accessibility is important, being able to access classes as and where you are, in 5-minute snippets between work and parenting and life, maybe with a toddler colouring next to you, definitely in a flare. You told me that it can be difficult for us to make and keep appointments. This way you can get all the benefits of mindful movement without the stress and energy of trying to get somewhere at a certain time. You have 15 minutes and you want to do some yoga right now, you can get out your mat, your phone, and you're good to go. It is my passion to share these tools with you. This feels like the culmination of everything I've been doing. Now I can share practical tools with you to help you, not just tell you do this, do that, do this, but actually share these with you, tools that I know will help. You go slowly enough and not pushy, demanding perfect poses or the world will end, etc. So I'm truly not feeling stressed about it. For the first time I'm in a yoga class and I feel like I'm actually going to get it. I feel like if all I did was go through these poses, just as you have presented them here for us over and over, that alone would be doable and a huge benefit. I'm sold. I really can do this and I love how it feels. That's one of my very first students in my course in January. But let's be clear here for a second. What can I guarantee? I don't offer magical fixes. You have to commit to a continual practice. The benefits yoga has to offer are fantastic and research-backed and experienced by me and many others, and you can feel great after a class and experience some immediate benefits, but my biggest benefits came after several years of continual practice, and I do a lot of whole of life things to be as well as possible. I am an open book about this. You'll read all about it on my blog and my Facebook groups and on my YouTube videos. Improving your symptoms takes time, effort, and lots of different things and support. So what do you get in the studio? Mindful movement, meditation, and breathing, especially designed for you, where, when, and how you need. With new resources added monthly, access to all of the previous resources, and there are a considerable amount, a focus on using tools for your individual toolkit like sleep and pain and rest, etc. Support in your journey. This is a team that gets it, with a teacher who has experienced this in her body and has improved her own quality of life dramatically. And you get to access this from your phone or your tablet or your computer. You don't need extra energy for transportation, and it's all designed especially for you, for less than $10 a week. And one of the bonuses included is how to save hundreds of dollars on physical treatments, the talk and the handout. Hint, yoga is one of the ways I have saved a lot of money. And you also get any other trainings I do pertaining to yoga, they'll be in your library. Plus you get all of the toolkits that are already there and the ones I'm working on. So that's the Beginner's Journey Toolkit, the 10-day meditation toolkit, the bead yoga toolkit, the seated yoga series, and more. Plus, you are supporting me to create a repository of yoga resources specifically designed for us. I release samples of some of our classes to others to access it freely on YouTube. It's part of the mission of making quality resources available for those who need it. So what do I get? Again, a value of hundreds of dollars up front and even more every single month. I've been dreaming of this, working on it, and fine-tuning it for some time. No one who gets in is underwhelmed at what you get. These tools are there right now waiting for you to start. $10 a week won't even likely get you one group class that you'd have to drudge up the additional energy to leave the house for, that you don't even know if it's accessible to you, and you definitely can't stream it over and over. If this saved you one physical therapist appointment, like a massage, per month, that's nearly $1,000 saved in a year. And what about all of the time, energy, and money spent on treatments that haven't helped you at all? But what we can't put a figure on is the value of those tools that you'll have on hand to help yourself whenever, wherever you need, forever. Like when you're stuck awake alone in the middle of the night with painsomnia. I'm about to share some of the feedback from previous students, and I need you to know that they have something in common, and it's not fibromyalgia because not all of them have it. But they did the work slowly, consistently. They did the practices. Danny from Health Hat said, I love yoga with Melissa Reynolds. It has helped me feel more relaxed, less cramping, less pain. Thank you. Shelley said, I like to be able to go at my own pace. Each video is very well explained, so I'm able to follow easily. I especially like that you included bedtime yoga. Latoya. Now this one made me so excited when she shared this with me. I used the chair yoga on a day when my pain was extremely high. I had already decided that my day was cancelled. Going out was not going to be possible. But I did the series, and about 10 minutes after I noticed I felt more alert and less pain. Before I knew it, I was dressed and in the car and driving to my sister's house. I ended up spending the evening there and then going to the grocery store after that. I would never have imagined being able to do a program and have such immediate results. The thing I love about that is that she got to take a day back from fibro, and I'm all about taking back our days from fibro. So some frequently asked questions. When does this start and finish? Well, it's a membership, so you gain access to everything that already exists and retain access for as long as you're a member, and get access to the new content constantly going in for as long as you're a member. What if you're unhappy with the program? I actually have a 30-day money-back guarantee. This is designed with you in mind. If you genuinely give it a go, I believe that you will see benefit. But if you feel it's not for you within the first 30 days, you can request a refund. No harm, no foul. Who's in charge? You are. You are always in charge of your body. So please check in with your medical team, continually check in with yourself and ask questions. This course is not live. And as such, I can't see you except for what you share. Plus, even in a class, the teacher doesn't know what you're experiencing. So you are always in charge. Do you need to check with your physical therapist or doctor? Yes, you need to be cleared to exercise. It's a good idea to run the idea of doing yoga by your medical professional. What if I want more support? A team who gets it, where we can virtually connect and support each other on a deeper level. Then friend, you are welcome to come and join the Melissa vs. Fibromyalgia membership team. This is like a step up from the virtual studio. So in addition to the virtual yoga studio, you get the Melissa vs. Fibromyalgia exclusive members group. This is a community of support where I lead the tone, keeping it real with practical focus, and provide carefully curated information and new research. This team is the best. Maybe a bit biased here, but I love being part of it. In addition to this, you get the Melissa vs. Fibromyalgia members library with a repository of my best talks and trainings and toolkits and printables to help you in your journey, and I can leave a link for that below. Thank you so much for being here. I am so pleased that we could do this together. If there's only one thing that you got out of today, I hope it's that you know that you have the ability to improve your quality of life and that self-efficacy improves our outcomes. The second thing is that I hope you know the potential yoga and meditation has to help us. If you're super excited about yoga for the chronic life, and come and secure your spot now, I can't wait to have you join the team. If you want some more information, check out melissavsfibromyalgia.com. I have over 250 blog posts there for you. Please do email me, melissavsfibromyalgia@gmail.com, with your questions. Don't forget to join the Yoga for Fibromyalgia with Melissa vs. Fibromyalgia Facebook group, and grab your free resources list below. That's got your poses, a couple of free classes, and your research links. Thank you again for joining us. I am super happy that we were able to do this.